Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Gonna do another full body workout and take you along for the ride. I just got back from a work day. I was in my car for quite some time driving around today. Um, so got home, ate a vegan Rice Krispie treat, drank some water, and took my dog out to the bathroom. And now we're here. So I'm just gonna get right into it before it's dinner time and get this workout done. So today we're starting with, I'm going to start with some rows. So I'm going to actually do my compounds first this time. I've been doing my arms first the last handful of workouts, but I'm going to hit my dumbbell rows first and then some weighted deficit push-ups and keep on rocking. So without further ado, I've just did a warm up. I did 2 lighter sets of rows, and now we're going to do the first working set. I'll kind of talk more about them after this first set. All right. So with these guys, you'll see that I do a little bit of swaying. So my upper body kind of moves in this probably range of motion a little bit. It's okay. You don't have to be super strict where nothing moves at all, but you also don't want to be swinging too much. So there's a happy medium for sure, for me anyways. You'll also see that my upper back, I do round at the bottom and then try to kind of do the opposite at the top. That's good too. It gives more of a stretch for your upper back. Just keep in mind, I'm not trying to round my lower back though. So the lower back stays neutral and then the upper back can round a little bit, but that's just what I'm kind of thinking about here. And then I'm trying to pull more towards my waist as opposed to pulling too high up and getting as much motion in my scapulas as I can. All right, let's go ahead and do the second set. Third and last set here. I'm actually trying to cut my rest periods down a little bit, specifically today, because I know I would like to do 3 sets of every movement. So obviously doing more sets. I want to keep the workout still relatively, I don't want to say short, but not excessively long. So probably going for more of like a 60 seconds at the most in between sets here, which to me is enough to recover, especially being used to, doing full body workouts. You end up building that work capacity to be able to not need as much of a rest in between sets. Last one. That'll do. All right, next up, pushing movement for the day, deficit weighted push-ups. threw the vest on here. Probably gonna do these paused at the bottom as well. Oh. And on that point earlier about rest periods, a lot of people ask me how long I rest between sets, and normally my answer is anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes or so. But it's not the same all the time. I'm not sitting here like timing each rest period. I think a lot of people get too caught up in the details, like most things, and forget about all the other more important things, like training really hard and being consistent. With rest periods, kind of depends on the movement, also depends on the time constraints for the day, but in general, yeah, it's about 1 to 3 minutes. When I'm doing less sets on a given workout, I might rest a little bit more, or if I just have more time in the day. Like today, I'm wanting to do more sets, or 3 sets per movement pretty much, and it's already a little bit later because I got home later, so I want to move through it a little bit quicker. So I'm resting about a minute and a half ish on the lower end of that 1 to 3 minute range that I normally give. So I guess all I want to say about rest periods is don't get too caught up on it. Make sure you're resting enough to where your heart rate's coming down a little bit and you feel somewhat recovered. I think most of the science says nowadays where as far as hypertrophy goes, if you're training for gaining muscle, about a minute is really all you really need to recover. If you're strength training, powerlifting, and you're going for absolute strength gains, yeah, you probably want to rest even more than that for performance. But when it comes to hypertrophy, a minute's long enough, but it can totally take longer if you want to. It's not a big deal. All right, let's go and do this second set. Okay. Last set here. Compound pulling and compound pushing movement done. Let's go ahead and get into some arm isolations here. I'm going to choose a dumbbell skull crusher today. And actually I need a little bit more weight than this. This was the weight that I warmed up with. There we go. Do 35 pounds here. Here we go. Second set. A little tip that I've noticed that's helped me with these is trying to protract my shoulder blades when I'm laying on the bench instead of pinching them. For some reason that makes me feel like I'm getting more out of my, especially the long head stretch. I don't know, something to try. What I mean by that is instead of like this, really trying to lift your elbows forward. It's kind of just a very subtle change, but third and final set here. We're gonna go straight from the skull crushers into some seated curls. I'm not even gonna do a warm-up set for these as I'm already sufficiently warm. If you need to do a warm-up set, go for it. So I've got the bench at a full 90-degree angle. Okay. Let's stick with that weight and do 2 more. Alright, as you can see there, I decided to do some hammer curls at the end of the set there. You can pretty much always do more reps if you're just doing regular palm up supinated curls. If you just rotate your wrist a little bit, you can always end up getting a few more reps with hammer curls. You don't need to do that at the end of your curling sets, but it's a nice thing to throw in there every now and then. I do think working on that, like that outer part of your bicep, right? Everyone talks about the brachialis, but biceps brachii, fancy terminology for a muscle that if you build up, it actually makes your bicep look a little wider, especially from the side or from looking at the front. So I normally like a neutral grip pull up, kind of takes care of most of that for me, but I'll throw in some hammer curls every now and then. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my next set. It's probably been at least a minute. And that'll do for the biceps. I think what we'll do is do some upright rows, or possibly actually, there's an exercise that I saw. So a few other YouTubers, Vegan Gains, Clarence Kennedy, and Alex Leonidas. They're all three vegans actually too, and they all have like fitness YouTubes. But they all collaborated not too long ago, and I saw them doing an exercise where they lean on an incline bench. I think this is necessarily from Vegan Gains. I think he's the one who kind of has this in his program. And you basically lean on one side like you would do a normal lateral raise, but you have the weight out in front of you. And it's going to obviously target the rear delt a little bit more, but it's still going to hit your lateral delt and your traps a good amount. So I think I might actually do that. So you'll see in a second. All right, let's see what we can do here. So again, you just kind of lay to where the top of the bench is in your armpit. It's kind of like a hybrid of an upright row, lateral raise, and a regular row almost. I'm noticing with this one, you kind of got to have a bit of a balancing act. So the trail leg needs to be kind of kicked behind you kind of far. Might actually be beneficial to hold on to this wall here, actually, now that I think about it. Let's see how this feels. That actually felt really nice, holding on a wall and being a little bit more stable. But you can really tell it's like hitting right there. It's like right in between the rear delt and the side delt. Feels really good, actually. Nice. Yeah, I actually really like those. If you try these out, try like positioning yourself somewhere where you can hold on and stabilize yourself so you don't have to balance staying on the bench. Imagine maybe if you had a bench that has a slightly wider base than mine, might not be as much of an issue as far as balance goes. But for me, holding on is really nice. But like I said, this is really where you end up feeling it. Right in between, like I said, the rear delt and the lateral delt. Man, it's a different type of feeling. Obviously, because I haven't ever really tried this movement before, but I think it's something I might keep in the rotation for sure. Go ahead and do my third and final set here, actually. All right, do a single set, just one set of these RDLs. Honestly, I can't do more than like one set of RDLs or else I'm just too sore for too long. So I'm finding just one decently hard set, not quite probably all the way to failure, but just doing one decently hard set a few times a week is nice for me as far as like good stimulation of the posterior chain, but also managing any excess fatigue and being able to do it more frequently. So, without further ado, Last exercise for the day for the workout. I'm gonna do some front foot elevated split squats. Just did a few warm-up sets, body weight, and a couple progressively heavier sets. I have found that I'm not a big fan of going over like 6 or so reps with these, just because they're super taxing. So I'm just gonna do a few sets of 6 on each leg here. I've got the 55-pound dumbbells, and yeah, we'll just get right into it. Try to keep all that weight on the front foot. Yeah, those are tough. 2 more. This is the part of the workout that it's really easy to start spacing out a little bit and losing focus, but just gotta remind yourself to stay fully present. Don't waste any reps or sets or any time. Just stay focused here. Oh boy, that last set got me, guys. That took a lot out of me. So this goes back to what I was saying earlier about rest periods. Hopefully that mic is picking up my voice, but when I was talking about rest periods, like sometimes 60 seconds, sometimes it's 3 or 4 minutes. Earlier in the workout, when I was doing like the upper body and isolation stuff, I was taking 60 seconds sometimes in between sets, and on the stuff I was doing one arm with, I was sometimes just going right into the next arm, back and forth until I had 3 total sets done. Now with this lower body stuff in particular, I need a little bit more rest to get my heart rate down because it's involving such large muscles. And yeah, like I said, that last set took it out of me, so I probably took at least 4 minutes rest before I'm about to knock out this last set. So just keep that in mind about rest periods. It's not a huge deal. Just make sure you're recovered and get into it to where you can put forth a really good effort on your next set. But at the same time, you don't have to rest 3, 4, 5 minutes in between curls. It's not, you don't need that much recovery for an exercise like that. Last one here. Catch up with you in just a second. Let me catch my breath. That's it, guys. Another full body workout done. Appreciate you following along. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about your own training or about how I go about training. If you have any questions about nutrition or anything like that, I'm more than happy to try and help and do my best to help you guys out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.